During any given election, the ground game for the youth vote usually starts on campuses with rallies and booths, but not this year.
In 2018, we were right here when Arizona State University saw record turnout. But now that the campus is mostly empty, many are wondering how this is going to impact the youth vote.
The fact that so many students are remote, the fact that we haven't had people on the ground at voter registration tables could have an impact on turnout.
18-year-old Abe Baker Butler thought this would be the year Gen Z finally made its mark. With 23 million eligible voters, 16 million more than the last presidential election, they now make up 10% of the electorate. So Abe knew the potential, but worried the pandemic and antiquated voting laws could keep his peers from the polls.
When I saw all the disinformation coming out about mail-in ballots, about registering to vote, I realized that there was a real role that I and my peers could play in getting swing state college freshmen out and registered to vote. So we took action.
He delayed his freshman year to begin Frosh Vote, a one-stop info center for mobilizing Gen Z voters.
I'm so glad to hear you're voting early.
And it turns out, despite all the empty campuses, Zoomers are gonna Zoom.
You guys are hitting up Zoom classes?
Yeah, that's actually part of my job.
Lauren Dorn works with the Campus Vote Project, recruiting students as poll workers.
I think kids are very excited to help out in any means they see possible.
While most Gen Z voters lean progressive, the majority don't see themselves represented in either candidate.
I feel like Biden does have good policy in some areas, but also I don't necessarily feel like he represents me as a Black woman in America.
Even those who do fall into a party don't always fit the mold, like Joe Pitts, a conservative committed to solving climate change.
I think Gen Z has seen decades, and as long as they've been alive, of partisanship in Washington and gridlock in Washington. They just continually get nothing done.
So he's trying to get his peers to focus on local politics as well.
I mean, it's weird. We have this guy, Stephen Richards, running for Maricopa County Recorder. He's a Republican.
You're talking to me about somebody that's running for recorder. And that's who's getting you stoked for the election.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's getting a lot of people excited. The local races, those are the people in power who are the most accessible.
First-time voters paying close attention and hoping more will do the same.
So, Gadi, I mean, what are the early vote returns showing when it comes to these Gen Z voters and these millennial voters as well?
Well, Craig, across the country, we've already seen more than 5 million people under the age of 30 cast their ballot, and a lot of that is happening in key battleground states like Florida, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and surprisingly, one of the states that's seen a huge spike is Texas, where 750,000 young people have already early voted. Compare that to the 100,000 that voted early in 2016, and we still have a week to go.
What do we know about their leanings in terms of this particular group? Do we know which way they're leaning?
Yeah, they lean more progressive, but I think it's really important to note that Gen Z has this extremely independent streak. They are a research it on their own kind of group. They don't watch much TV. And again, overall, they seem to see both candidates in this race more negatively than positively. But when it comes to issues of social justice, they are very engaged. They are the most diverse generation out there. And again, while they were only 2% of the eligible vote back in 2016, they are now over 10% of the electorate, so they could swing some of those races.